All right, folks, back for an eventful Tuesday. Got to get to it. Got a special guest today, and I just want to get the business right out of the way. Get your TradingView software Harmonic Pattern Collection by sending your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. And God knows we need it today going forward. What's up, chat? Great to see everybody. What's going on? Randy Hipper is in the house, everyone, and I'm going to bring her in. And we've got a special video. Yes, video today. Pretty amazing. I never do video, but for Randy, I will do video. So let's take a look at the chart quickly before we bring her in. And it's 12:42, Randy, so I'll be right there in 1 second. But Bitcoin, 87K. How are we feeling, folks? How are we feeling? The 91K. Let's just quick review on the Bitcoin deal. Bitcoin was a 91.5 retest of this bat pattern consolidation since really last month. Actually, two. And now we're all the way at the hop level, 86,471 to be exact. How you doing, guys? What's up? Chat, Alec, Demilis, Muris, David, Cactus Leo, Curtis, Bud, Victoria, Jake, everyone else. How you guys feeling about Bitcoin? A lot to get to, but just to update, this is step one in the larger process of getting to step two. And I think Randy's going to be able to give us a lot of backstory and explanation of why. What's up here? I've always said 91 is that first step retest, and then looking for 76.5. It's target one off the crab pattern. It's not a thing. Another retracement just like back in August. So let's be ready for it. Okay? A lot to get to today. Absolutely. Really quick. One other thing for you guys. We got to talk about the weekly too. Because weekly definitely is the bigger time frame that we can now go off of. Weekly time frame looks like this. Remember 1025 forever? Like for 15 months, we were 1025. 1025. What is that? Again, it's the 1618 all time right there. There you go. 1025. And now can we just do like we're already at a 236. 86K. Just so we're up on the numbers. 87K, 382 number retracement. I'm seeing Fibonacci people say 73, 76, 73. I'm fine with all of that. So now, yeah, we'll get into those in a second. I want to bring Randy in here so we can really get into what's going on the story of Bitcoin. Nobody that I know that knows the story better than Randy. Randy's here. Video, guys. What's up?
Yay, video.
Video for Randy. Check out the office. Check out, I even have the Shure microphone. I'm not using it. I've had that up for months. I'll get there. Randy said she'll come over and she's going to help me set up. Maybe I get a professional situation. But Randy, how are you? Been a long time. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here as always. I tell everyone all the time, if you want to learn about TA, you have to go to the icon first, Scott Carney. So I'm honestly honored to be here. I know Justin in the chat has been asking me, when are you going on Scott's channel? And I was like, soon, watch out. So I'm very happy to be here. I love Bitcoin, love crypto, and I love TA. So honestly, I'm so happy to be here and chat with you.
Awesome. Well, you're on Fox. You interviewed Michael Saylor. You've got your pulse on the industry. I kind of don't want to touch narrative because of just I have to stick to the harmonic levels, but I really need an update. I think we all need a big, what's going on in Bitcoin? What do we need to be thinking about? I can spew out my levels all day long, but I still, there's times where I get a little too dismissive on understanding what's the story. Give us like a top 3 list of what we should be thinking on Bitcoin.
Well, right now, what I've been watching on the chart, at least, is what has been happening since the election. And you can see, even on election night, we were rallying for Bitcoin and hitting new highs. And then all of a sudden, we went through the 70s like nothing, 80s like nothing. And then we hit 91K. We kind of hit a wall there. And then we went right into 100K because everyone was like, okay, Donald Trump's president now. Where's the strategic Bitcoin reserve? And we didn't get that strategic Bitcoin reserve. So I believe that because of the failure of the Bitcoin strategic reserve move by the people on the federal level, at least, people are very upset about that. And that's why we're kind of pulling back even more today, especially with the tariffs and everything like that. People are like, oh my gosh, tariffs, so bad. So that's why they're also tanking Bitcoin. I don't really see a reason why, because I do believe that Bitcoin is ultimately going to win. We're going to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. There was the Senator Cynthia Lummis, that put together the Bitcoin Act. And so she announced this back in July at Bitcoin Nashville. I was actually there in person watching Donald Trump speak, saying that he was going to have like a Bitcoin stockpile, saying free Ross. And then Lummis came on right after him. And she said she was going to propose the Bitcoin Act, which would have our government accumulate 1 million Bitcoin over the course of 5 years. So under her idea, it's 200,000 Bitcoin per year acquired by the government. And what they have from Silk Road already, they would put towards that 200K mark at least for the first year of buying. Now, what people are also seeing is that apparently the U.S. Marshals from the last administration that were going to sell off some of this Bitcoin from Silk Road all of a sudden don't know where the Bitcoin is. Hello, let's be real. It's a public, transparent ledger, friends. If there is Bitcoin moved, we know where it went. Just tell us where the Bitcoin went. So that's currently, I think the sentiment is really low, especially for $100,000 Bitcoin. You would think $100,000 Bitcoin, retail's FOMOing in. I think it also comes down to marketing, Scott. Last bull market, what did we see? Influencers everywhere. We saw major sponsorships like the FTX arena, crypto.com arena, and all of a sudden this bull market, we don't really see the marketing from all these major crypto exchanges that we saw back then. So I think the spending for marketing is at an all-time low, which you would think is pretty surprising, but there's also the institutions that came and kind of changed the game for people. Everyone's saying, oh, the cycle is different, but it actually is. Where last bull cycle, we didn't have institutions. We had Gary Gensler raining on our parade every day, where he's gone. And now I think we have a huge opening for crypto. But it just comes down to, where's the innovation? Are the new regulations going to come out? Is the new crypto task force from the SEC really going to be crypto friendly? I feel like that's something that the market doesn't understand right now and hasn't been really clear, to be honest.
That's quite a summary. That's a great, really 2-minute wrap on what's happened. I mean, I don't understand what the goal on the Bitcoin reserve is, and I know that they're trying to use that just to get some kind of assets like the gold on their balance sheet, but how it's going to get executed, I think a lot of people were expecting some kind of immediate day one situation that
Yeah.
it's going to take time, and there's so many other things going on that hype. I think, in my opinion, like looking at the buying pressure that happened, we had such that fantastic run. I think so many people were holding off until the election because I wasn't sure. I didn't know. I mean, if Biden could win last cycle, Harris could win this cycle. It was not clear to me, and so then when it was, I think the amount of people that piled in and ran that so hard in a short period of time got it exhausted. I mean, it was hit that 1618. What I do, the stuff that defines like oversold conditions, 1618 was it. And then we had to digest that, and we couldn't get above like 108. We took our time for several weeks, and now we're just digesting this. When do you think there'll be development, progress on a reserve, government starting to buy Bitcoin, stuff like that?
If you look at the states, I believe the states are the people and they speak. So right now, I believe we have over 30 states that are trying to put forward strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation. And some of them look different, where some states are going to allocate, let's say, 5 or 10% of their funds into the reserve. And then other states are saying, hey, you know what, we'll have to accept taxes or fees or donations in Bitcoin. And then we're going to have to hold that for 5 years. So I think it depends on the state and what kind of reserve legislation they're looking for. But I do believe states are going to start buying Bitcoin. Now, Van Eck actually put out a study and said over $20 billion of Bitcoin would be bought if all the states are going to have their strategic Bitcoin reserve bills passed. Now, so that's an extreme amount of money coming into the market from the states alone. So states start doing it, the federal level is going to FOMO in. And then you're going to have other countries starting to buy Bitcoin too. Look at El Salvador. They literally, I think yesterday they bought 7 Bitcoin or something like that. El Salvador is a small country that went from one of the most unsafe countries to one of the safest countries, used the Bitcoin to their advantage, and tourism went up over 90%. And you see in the United States with Gary Gensler and Biden, it went absolutely haywire in the wrong direction. And so people went offshore for their business when they should really be making money here. Now, if the United States wants to cement themselves as an economic powerhouse, they should be smart and start buying Bitcoin. You have the Trump family too that has World's Liberty Financial. So they always talk about like Eric Trump and Don Jr. Oh, you know, we were at the top of the TradFi Ponzi scheme. It's all a Ponzi scheme. He literally said that, Don Jr. But now we understand what it's like to be debanked and be excluded from the financial system. So now we have World's Liberty Fi, where you could do borrowing and lending and all these things. And they're buying Bitcoin, like wrapped Bitcoin, which I don't count as Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these different coins, having it on their balance sheet there. So you also have, I think it was Eric Trump that tweeted today, keep buying the dip. So the Trump family's heavily invested. Most of the new administration is invested in Bitcoin. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think, especially in crypto is like full of like majority are like over 25. But they act a lot like Gen Z in the fact that they need instant gratification. If something doesn't happen right away, they get all upset. They're like such teenagers about the whole thing, and they want everything to happen right away. It doesn't happen like that. It never did with Bitcoin. Now, when people are bearish, like we're in extreme fear according to the index right now, that's when you should be bullish, because this could be the biggest fake out ever, and Bitcoin could pump to 100K tomorrow. You just don't know.
I agree. I got a lot of grief for a recent post on X, and I'm still thinking that it's, we're still in a bull market, but this is a natural retracement. It's going to be a healthy retracement. It needs to go up to go down to go up, kind of a rationale. Anybody that, from August at 49K to 108. In a matter of 4 or 5 months, you doubled the price, and I look at everything in segments for the TA and the Harmonic stuff. So you doubled and $1 trillion of market cap was added from the August low. We'll look at some charts in a second, but August low was a 382. And that was a natural retracement. And I was still saying 1025 the whole time. Even when we got down to 49 and that August capitulation, would be great to see something like August, like a flash down to 76 or 73, and then to set it up again, and it would shake everybody out. To me, it seems like there's a lot of people over their skis, not really, not the strong-handed type, if you will. They probably hodl, but they've been buying at very high prices, expecting higher, and I just don't. No market works that way, and I just think it's, you got some digestion. You do have institutions. I agree that, hey, they're going to short if they see that the book looks good for lack of demand, which is probably what's going on, and then you got to flush out a lot of these weak hands. So. One second, one thought. What do you think about Ethereum? Like the Ethereum versus Solana debate. Do you give that much credence, or is that just noise? Or
honestly, I think Ethereum is like the OG of DeFi in one way, shape, or another. You could actually say Bitcoin is the beginning of DeFi as well, because there were color coins, right? And then because of color coins on Bitcoin, then Vitalik looked at Bitcoin and was like, hey, let me create Ethereum. So Ethereum is inspired by Bitcoin. And then I believe Solana is inspired by Ethereum because they wanted to create something that could be a little bit faster or cheaper than ETH. Now, ETH is too expensive. I mean, if you're looking at base layer ETH and you're trying to do a swap, especially when there's high congestion within the network, it's going to be near impossible. It's way too expensive. It's pricing people out. And then you go to Solana, where if there's too many people on the network at one time, and I don't know if Solana can handle mainstream adoption, it breaks. We've had over maybe a dozen times of downtime with Solana, countless number. And so with that, I do wonder about the scalability of both platforms, Solana and ETH. Do I think that they should compete against one another? No. In my opinion, if one wins, we all win. So the tribalism in crypto is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, if you even look at like the Bitcoin maxis, it doesn't make sense what they're talking about, because you know that Bitcoin can't scale for everything that we need. If we're going to have tokenization, even Michael Saylor actually on Friday went to talk to the new crypto task force. What did he put down in all of that? About NFTs, tokenization of real estate, collectibles, IP. You know that's not all going to be on Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen. So we need things like Ethereum. We need things like Solana. We need other blockchains that, in my opinion, we're not done building. There could be something that comes out tomorrow that's way better than anything we've ever thought. I believe that we're still in the beginning of crypto to begin with. So to choose one versus the other is honestly stupid.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of Ethereum. I mean, chart-wise, haven't liked Ethereum the whole cycle.
Oh, underperforming majorly.
Yeah,
Majorly.
it has the whole time. I mean, you had that big rush 2 years ago, but since then the charts haven't been that great. Solana, I was a lot more in favor of, but now looks like that could be a deeper retracement. Not sure. Maybe give us one or two ideas that would be alternatives to ETH or Solana. I hear a lot of people talk SUI or something like that.
SUI, I'm not too deep into their ecosystem. I know Avalanche, I saw someone bring that up in the chat as well. I believe Avalanche is something to pay attention to, just because they're very popular within the gaming space. And I do believe gaming will bring mainstream adoption just because it's something familiar and people like familiarity. So, integrating crypto into gaming, it only makes sense. So you could actually own your tokens that are in the game. You can own your assets within the game. You can list it all on a secondary market, really just take this to a more decentralized the level to a degree with gaming. If you also look at the DMV, I believe it was California integrating Avalanche as well. Someone from the Avalanche team is actually working with the Trump administration, and I believe Avalanche could be used for a lot of different applications, like I noted. So I think there's a lot of alternatives out there, but I still believe we're super early, and we just have to see how it scales. If 1 billion people are using one network, what's going to happen to it? That's my question. And so that's the real thing we need to tackle, is we need to stress test these networks, where Solana's pretty much failed a few times. Ethereum has struggled a lot, and Bitcoin gets too expensive. So I think an alternative could probably be the Avalanches out there. People are saying Cardano. In terms of sound money, I think Litecoin is probably the winner there, Digibyte. In terms of, I'm not even saying about financial advice. I know you guys are out there like, number go up. It ain't about that. It's about the tech, like what's going to work and what's going to benefit us in the future.
And that versus what's your take on the meme coin craziness? Because I think that's killed liquidity. And
yeah,
I mean, how are you going to resolve that problem? How are you going to resolve all that? It's draining liquidity without a doubt. I think Bitcoin
absolutely
would be a lot higher, but when you get all these meme coins that are, I mean, the Trump coin, the Melania coin, I mean, they lost 90%. Those are problems. I mean, as a trader, investor, I look at those markets as problematic signs of something underlying in crypto maybe not being considered enough.
Yeah, I do believe, when someone loses a trade, there's obviously someone on the other side of the trade that's winning it, right? And typically that's the exchanges. So I do believe that the meme coins took a lot of liquidity. And you brought up Trump coin, right? When Trump coin launched that Friday before the inauguration, everyone was like, woo woo, Trump. And then that following Sunday, we had Melania, and you literally I saw once the tweet went out from Melania. All the liquidity from Trump went right to Melania, and then poof, it was all gone within the next few days. So I kind of go back to what I said before about people being like teenagers, like they want something instant. And I think it also goes back to the fact that people are saying, oh, I'm not going to get a 10x with Bitcoin. Why don't I go hit a meme coin and maybe I'll get 10x from there? So people want that instant gratification. They want instant money. And I think this is like a new flood of people that maybe missed out on the last bull market that are here now saying, let me take advantage. Last bull market, we had Uniswap launching, a decentralized exchange. You had like grocery store coins, like Pickle and Donut and like all these random things that were coming out, and people were buying them and they're going crazy. Over 90% of those are gone. And that's just because it was a phase. And so now this cycle, we have all these meme coins that it's another phase. Like all of them, I would say most of them are going to get wiped out. There's Dogecoin that's going to live because it's a proof of work blockchain that could actually be used as currency. And then you have like the Pepes that have a huge community. But other than that, there's really not much. I think Trump is going to be there for the meme. Melania is going to be there for the meme. Who's to say where the market cap is going to go unless they really give it utility? So I think a lot of these meme coins are just a phase. It's like a teenage phase and people want instant money, but that's just not how it works.
I've just seen a lot of people actually get crushed. A lot of people who were looking for that and just got crushed. And then the Murad guy, I don't know his name, Murad. He's the meme guy. The Must Kill Murad, I think, is the Twitter handle. He's been big on the meme coin, saying, oh, they're a cult. You have to be a part of that cult, and you just have to hold on. But now they're 90% down, and these people are still saying, hold on, these are going to make you millionaires. And I've seen that before. Really, the craziness to date myself was like, we had that in the dot-com bubble, where you had companies with zero sales get billion-dollar valuations, which was huge back then, and then go bankrupt, be bankrupt 6 months later. These coins, they don't go bankrupt, but they just go to, micro cents or thousandths of a penny when they were $1 or 50 cents, or now you're I don't know. I was in Elon. I round tripped that. I had a ton of that, but it popped. It did like a 5x, and then the next day it was back down. It was a double, but I held it, and then I dumped it like a week ago. Just basically breaking even with a small loss, and I just said, no, I hit my breaking point on that. I had hit some big stuff with like Stellar Lumens and XRP.
That was good.
Love to hear your thought on XRP because, as a trade for me towards the end of the year, those were big, but then they had signs, and I was even a little late getting out. I got out a lot of it in early December, but, what's the deal with XRP now that Gensler's gone, and is that really going to be the powerhouse?
XRP, I have a lot of mixed feelings about. Like, even if you look at the chart, like it kind of hits the door at like 275, and then that's really where you want to hold support to go back to 340. And even on the show, like we would, like on my show, we would joke about how we were in that range. I think it was like 40 cents to 71 cents or something like that, for a very long time. So people were it was just not moving until, obviously there was a bullish catalyst where Trump won the election. Brad Garlinghouse had a dinner with Donald Trump, and people were like, all right, let's send this thing to the moon. XRP ETF filings. The thing about XRP and Ripple that I talk about on my show, and again, it's not me hating on them, it's just what the reality is that Brad Garlinghouse is besties with the World Economic Forum. You can look on, like, just Google Ripple World Economic Forum. It's on their website. And the goal of Ripple is CBDCs. And so I think that Trump kind of rained on Brad's parade here because within the executive order that Trump signed, they effectively banned CBDCs, which is the whole goal of Ripple. Now, Ripple was lobbying both sides, giving Kamala millions and millions of dollars of XRP for her campaign. And then you also saw they were kind of slipping in Donnie T's bucket as well. So I think they try to play both sides for the sake of their business. Brad Garlinghouse, Trump's touts Trump now. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because he said that, oh yeah, now that Trump's president, I could hire a bunch of people in the US and yay, XRP. So XRP is going to work with the banks. It's a bank coin. Their goal is CBDCs. They're already working with other countries and their central banks for it. So it's just something that, if I'm a supporter of Bitcoin and I love proof of work, I love decentralization, censorship resistant transactions, and essentially freedom, what's the point of XRP in crypto? But I do believe that they have their purpose. If you're using it for payments, it is fast and cheap. So there's that.
Do they have an inflationary and part to the coin? Like, I know Doge is like a 4% inflation rate per year. Does XRP have something like that?
I don't know the exact mechanics, but I do know that they do like certain types of unlocks with XRP. So they'll just like flood the market with certain amounts of XRP, and it kind of stabilizes the price. I think they outright said that, I could like Google it too, XRP price stabilization with the unlocks. But they do some of that type of stuff, and so that's also why I'm just wondering why do they want to do that? And then you also have a while back where one of the executives at Ripple had their wallet hacked. And then when that happened, XRP dumped because it was a ridiculous amount of XRP that this one executive held in his personal wallet. So what other wallets do each executives have? How much is in those? And then are there other wallets that they hold for the business, and how much do they really own? So that's my question with XRP. Also, there's like a big chunk of the beginning of the blockchain that's also missing. So then you ask yourself, what really was going on in the beginning of XRP, and like where did all that XRP go? So those are a few questions I have, at least. Again, I'm not like hating on anybody for buying XRP. I believe do what you want with your money. Like if you want to buy, sell, that's all up to you, and you do your own research. But that's just what I've seen, and those are the absolute facts of the matter.
You talk about hack. What do you think about that Bybit hack? I mean, I myself was hacked, locked out of my accounts. It was pretty scary. I didn't lose any money. I had a lot of money on it. Just to let all that scammers know, I'm off of Coinbase, so you can't get my money there. Although I was absolutely locked out. It took me 10 days to get back, and I'm talking like, a sizable six figures that was on there. I mean, I freaked out because I was like, oh my God. And for me, that has stuck with me, where I was like, imagine if that was gone and it got hacked somehow. Would I ever be able to get back to that? And that's when I switched. I took a bunch out, and this was last summer. And so then I went into the Bitcoin ETFs and took the money that I had BTC on the exchange. And I know it's not my keys, not my whatever you guys say, not my wallet, not my keys, not my Bitcoin. What is it?
Yeah, not your keys, not your crypto. Yeah,
not my keys, not my crypto. But scared the hell out of me. I'm an older traditional person investor, so something like that risk is almost ludicrous to me. And then you see Bybit get hacked for $1.5 billion. I mean, what's going on there? Aren't there protocols that would like stop that before that kind of money would get removed from or transferred?
Well, one, yes, not your keys, not your crypto. I preach that every single day of my life. Take self-custody, go back to the fundamentals of Bitcoin. That's why we're here, is to have peer-to-peer transactions with no financial institutions to tell you yes or no. Let's always take self-custody. If you have crypto on an exchange, and if you say, if I lose this right now, my heart is freaking broken, take it off right now, put it in a wallet, and forget about it. Keep your keys, obviously, in a safe and nice place. And if you ever want to sell it, you go and send it back. You always have the option to do that, but you never want to put yourself in a position where you could lose it. Same thing with the banks. I don't trust the banks, and especially with exchanges, they're not banks either. So just keep that in mind as well. Now, with the Bybit thing, they had a multi-sig wallet. So you needed multiple signatures in order to send this Ethereum. Apparently, from what I understand of the situation, the CEO of Bybit got tricked and he signed the last transaction. So essentially, he let it go. Now, if there was like a million checks there, it wouldn't have happened. So I think that was kind of maybe the CEO that messed up there, and the hackers were clever. They like masked the transaction or something like that, where they made it look like it was going somewhere else, but it really wasn't. So the CEO was the last sign off there. So I wish they would have done maybe more looking at what they were signing. And apparently the CEO was using a ledger to do the sign off, which I think is pretty shocking as well. So this was essentially the CEO. It had really nothing, like the platform itself wasn't really hacked. It was the multi-sig wallet, and they messed up by signing the transactions.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
That's
everyone who signed the
crazy.
transaction got phished. Like they masked the transaction. It was just a little awkward. People are saying like this is a setup. Yeah, see, Wayne even said it in the chat. He admitted he messed up. Exactly. Yeah. So they did. I believe they're close to 100%, if not already 100%, have their reserves back on ETH. So I think they did a good job cleaning it up at least. But it was definitely a big. It was a big oopsie. It was a big oopsie that should not have happened.
Okay, now I have less confidence to know that the CEO is the one that screwed up because I don't. So if I don't understand something, I'm not going to be in it. I do understand the whole your keys, your crypto, the off exchange, the cold wallet, whatever. Um, but if I, same kind of a thing. If I had a couple 100,000 in Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin or whatever, that was in a cold wallet, wouldn't you want to just keep that in a safe deposit box at a bank? That I mean
I mean,
that's my natural inclination of like how if I hit $500,000 of anything, I would have it that secure. I mean, I wouldn't have it at my house.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. And that's where it kind of gets tricky of taking the responsibility of being your own bank, right? Because then if you're throwing it back in the bank, you're like, okay, I'm banked to a degree. So I think it's definitely a little bit tricky. And I think even keeping it in a safe deposit box, like it could be looked at as safer. But at the end of the day, you're relying on that bank to keep their doors open. And I know during COVID, for example, that my local bank did close their doors right away. And so if I one day they close the banks and say, hey man, like you can't come in, like then I can't go get my Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, what you could do, it's not just on the device. If you have your private keys, let's say at home, then you don't necessarily need the device, and you could just get the keys, get a new device ordered or whatever it may be, and be able to have access to your crypto that way.
Mm.
But I would never put my private keys in another place that I wasn't aware of. Now, if you trust family or your wife, for example, and you guys like have another house somewhere, then make a copy of your private keys and leave it somewhere else, or create a multi-signature wallet where you have, for example, 3 wallets and you need 2 out of 3 to sign to move it, and you have them in different locations. So that's another way to stay secure.
So what's a guy like Michael Saylor do? He has companies that
Probably a
hold it,
multi-sig wallet.
but he's
Probably
whole
multi-sig.
companies that deal and hold his stuff securely. I can't imagine he even has anything, maybe private stuff, but um, he's not technically on an exchange, correct? He's just, how would he store that?
I know Saylor probably has his own private bag of Bitcoin. So I'm sure he has like a cold storage wallet somewhere. And he hasn't like really delved into his like whole how he keeps his Bitcoin. But I know these companies, it's depending on who it is. Like if it's an ETF issuer, then someone like Coinbase is going to hold their crypto, which is why the whole SAB 121, the Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, it was like a rule by the SEC kind of barring banks from custodying crypto. And essentially what they did by overturning that with this new administration, it kind of opens the door for banks to hold Bitcoin and crypto for clients. So now I think a lot of these issuers are going to end up giving their Bitcoin to the banks. And so the banks are going to have their own private keys and their own wallets that they're in control of to hold said Bitcoin. So I believe that's probably how it's going to work. Because even if you look at the U.S. Marshals with their Silk Road Bitcoin, like someone's holding the keys. That's a wallet somewhere.
Yeah.
People who keep track of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's still, I mean, it's just amazing how little actually got done in the regulation in the last 4 years. If anything, it was like deliberate obfuscation of the whole
Absolutely.
progress of, and so obviously something's going on there. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. The guy Gensler was just a villain. I mean, he was really a wolf in sheep's clothes to come in there. Because I remember when he first came, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Gary Gensler, MIT crypto guy, he's going to be really progressive for the industry." And he just, I mean, you just look at the XRP premium that 4x, 5x after he came out was just told you everything you needed to know that these people have been deliberately holding this stuff back. So I don't know. I really, as an older individual, I have my doubts. I embraced this thing too late. I mean, I sat there, I guess it was first 2015, where really people were like, what do we think about this Bitcoin thing? And, as I started doing patterns with it, and it was amazingly harmonic, but I was still like, this is a scam. This is all, get out of here. And then I watched it go from like 800 or 1,000 to 20,000. And I remember where I was when I hit 20,000, but then it crashed, and I still thought, okay, this is just a scam. I've seen this .com stuff, and that's gonna continue to happen up and down. But the store of value, digital store of value thing, I get that, and I do think that that has a future. But I'm always about the right price, I'm not gonna chase. I was really clear about targets to the upside, but I still know this functions. It functions like any market, and so as amazing as the returns have been, it is going to take time to build those step by step movements. Whatever, if it's going to be 1 million or 13 million a coin, I don't know. I mean, I know people that hold a lot of Bitcoin, a lot more than I do, banking on that in like 20 years. It'll be, in 20 years, whatever. I'll be really old. But, so my timeline's like, tell me about the next 5. And can we get there in 5 years? Can we get to 1 million a coin? What do you think? Can we get to 1 million a coin by the end of the decade?
I think probably. I wouldn't doubt it. I think especially there's a finite supply of 21 million. If you think about it right now, we got around 19.9 million mined out. And then you have the government themselves that want to buy a million. I believe there's at least 5 million lost from people that mined early and lost their computers. And then people on a daily basis that can't find their phone or their cold wallet or their recovery phrases. So I think there's a big chunk that's lost. So I believe there's probably like just over 11 or 12 million in circulation at this point that people can actually get and move around, or people that are just holding in general. The fact that there's a finite supply, I think 100%, like there's going to be a huge shortage of Bitcoin. If you look at the miners right now, they're not only mining Bitcoin, but they're keeping it and buying more Bitcoin to add to their own treasury. So if the miners don't really want to sell, who's going to be able to buy OTC, especially if our administration, for example, goes through with the Bitcoin Act and wants to buy 1 million Bitcoin over the course of 5 years. Are they going to be able to even buy that 1 million Bitcoin in the next 5 years? Is there going to be enough in circulation? Are people going to want to sell their Bitcoin, especially these miners, to the government, unless the government actually mines themselves? Then you're going to have the states buying over $20 billion in Bitcoin if all the reserves pass, which I think in the matter of 5 years, I believe they will, because they want to enrich their states. People are sick of the Federal Reserve, that's not even federal, being a centralized entity that controls our value. You look at 2019 to now, our dollar has depleted in value. If you look at for example, when my dad was younger, like going to McDonald's or something, and the burger was a few cents, and now you're lucky if it's on the dollar menu. Just life isn't affordable. You need a store of value that's not controlled, something you own. It's going to be Bitcoin. And then when people are short on Bitcoin and it goes bananas, then what's the next thing? Then you have the Litecoins of the world that are similar to Bitcoin, that have the same properties: a finite supply, proof of work, something that's verifiable, immutable. That's just something that's just so important. Especially, the last 4 years we had an administration that didn't like Bitcoin just because it was something that was public and something that was transparent. I mean, that's why they threw Ross in jail, I feel. Ross Ulbright, is because he was showing people that you could use a currency, that it isn't exactly controlled by a centralized entity. So we can't have people controlling us anymore. And I think that's a big reason why the last administration didn't like Bitcoin, but it's a big reason why this administration is going to have to embrace it, because if they don't, people will continue to exit the dollar to have access to something that maintains its value and appreciates. It is the best performing asset of the last 14 to 15 years, and that's undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, it doubled since August. It's showing that it still has that capability. Move $1 trillion of market cap into it in a short period of time. there's clearly a demand. That's a self-perpetuating phenomenon that's not going to stop. Even if they're talking about stopping QE and a stronger dollar policy, I think will maybe curtail what is truly possible on this cycle, because you've got things going on you've never, ever in my lifetime, I've ever seen with the government, the kind of transparency, the kind of exposure. I'm relieved to see it because, from just personal perspective, I've always said this where I had tremendous problems with what went on in the early 2000s under the Bush administration, the amount of money that they spent thinking that that was an absolute irresponsible, egregious increase in public debt. But then we got to Obama, then we had COVID and Trump, they did what they had to do. But then Biden, with no reason at all, exploded it. 50% in really 3.5 years. And you see where that all went to. I do think turning that around is really important, no matter if it kind of makes the dollar stronger and curtails Bitcoin. I think it's just only going to slow the progress. It's not going to stop it, but this is a clear investment class, and that's what needed to get established. Yes. That got established in the last cycle. The whole notion of it being a scam, we're way past that. So the question is, like, where do they take Bitcoin? And I do think Bitcoin is different than all other crypto, not only in the way that it functions, but the way big money investors look at that. But how does Bitcoin grow from here in adoption and market cap price? Like, what are the one or two things that need to happen? I guess strategic reserve, but just greater adoption, China getting back into the game.
China's been in the game, man. I don't care what China tells you. They lie. That's a full-on communist country. Like, they're going to tell you anything. They've been mining forever. And I hear they also have mining facilities in the United States as well. I don't believe a darn word out of China. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. They have the digital yuan, which is a whole credit system where if you don't have the high credit score, then you can't even go buy yourself food. I went to speak at Columbia University, the Ivy League, I think it was a year ago. And one of the kids was from China, and he showed me his app. And the social credit score thing is real. His was like midway. And I said, what happens if you go lower? And he said he wouldn't be able to do anything or buy anything. And I said, what got you to that score? He said his score got so low, or mid, because he rented a portable charger for his phone and he didn't return it exactly on time. So the simplest things you get blipped for. And so I don't trust China one darn bit. So I think what we need is already happening, where we have other countries that are facing triple-digit inflation, like Argentina was like that. A bunch of other countries were like that, triple-digit inflation, where people are understanding that if you get paid this week, it's worth absolutely nothing next week. Mm-hmm. And what do you do then? You have to diversify, which is where stable coins come in, and that's where Bitcoin comes in. You need something that's stable. Bitcoin going down a few percent, that's way more stable to most people in other countries. I think we're spoiled in the first world here in the United States and other first world countries because people can't conceptualize triple-digit inflation. It just doesn't happen to them. So I believe if people in other countries keep buying Bitcoin, which they are, and people in the United States start to see more applications built with Bitcoin, even, what was it? I have it right in front of me. Ohio actually has a bill proposed that if you spend your cryptocurrency, not just Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and pay for it like at Dunkin' Donuts or a bakery, whatever it is, you won't get taxed on that. It'll just be like the regular taxes that the state has or whatever it may be. So as long as we have bills that are put forward where people are going to spend their Bitcoin and spend their crypto on things that they like, and just like they would with their debit card, their credit card, or even cash, it's going to be a really bright future. People are going to keep spending their crypto, and especially if it keeps going up, what do people like to do? They're going to go cash out and buy their Lambo, but they'll probably buy it with Bitcoin.
Yeah. What do you think about like any problems with Tether? they're always like talking. There might be problems with
You know,
Tether, USDC, that they might go after those.
I think USDC is very much favored within the stablecoin world because it's in the United States and they're kind of like besties with the government. And people like to say that maybe USDC will be the CBDC of the United States, which I don't think is that far off. I think a lot of people are intimidated by Tether because they're offshore. They're not based in the United States, although they hold a lot of US assets. So like bonds and things of that nature. They also have Bitcoin mining facilities. So I think Tether's really on top of their game. They also collaborate with our government to freeze assets of bad actors. So I think it's a lot of FUD that's thrown at Tether just because they're offshore and they're not as under the scope of the U.S. government. Like the government can't just like hold them and be like, do what I want. So that's what I really feel like is Tether's main issue is just that they're not onshore. And if they were, I guarantee all of these issues wouldn't even matter. So I think Tether's pretty much fine. They do what they need to do. They freeze money when they're supposed to. So yeah, I think Tether's okay.
Where are they based
It's just like
out of?
how Binance too. I think they moved their HQ recently to El Salvador. And that's also where Rumble is based. So people in crypto are really flocking to El Salvador right now because they're giving visas and all these types of things for like Bitcoin and crypto companies to build because Nayib Bukele's a smart freaking man. And he knows where the money is, and that's in Bitcoin and crypto. He's seen his country completely turn around because of it. So I also think like it was an attack with the last administration, even on Binance, like Binance USD. They had their stablecoin. I think it was the third largest stablecoin behind Tether and USDC, and they just had Paxos, which was their stablecoin issuer, discontinue it because they said it was a security, even though it's a stablecoin, it doesn't move. Yet the same issuer, Paxos, was able to issue their own stablecoin, Pax USD, and then they had PayPal's stablecoin that they were allowed to issue after they took out Binance USD. So there's direct attacks here. And that's how I feel it exactly is with Tether as well, except they couldn't discontinue Tether because they're not in the United States.
And what about who do you think is going to be like the favorite? Like government's talking about bringing crypto in for everything from the government files to digitizing records and stuff. Is that play into like more like a Cardano or that those kind of emerging trends? Are there any to be looking for that could satisfy those problems?
That's where I kind of look at like the avalanches or Cardanos because like apparently Charles Hoskinson has been talking to people within the government. Avalanche already has someone from their team working with this current administration. Also Ethereum is just the most well-known. But then you could even go back to like Bitcoin and Litecoin because if you want really something that's immutable and you're like, oh, it's almost like, taking a stick to the cave wall and drawing something, I think you would go to Bitcoin and Litecoin and inscribe in the blockchain if it's really something and make kind of like an inscription and more of an inscription rather than an NFT, something that I think is more finite and immutable. So I believe you'll probably inscribe in Bitcoin or Litecoin or go towards Ethereum, Cardano, Avalanche, and things of that nature.
We're going to have to see. I mean, the prices it doesn't look constructive for like things that I do just yet. But I don't want to be totally dismissive. I've been really down on crypto, especially the last 4 to 6 weeks. Since the beginning of the month, I just kind of capitulated on anything else that I was in. The charts they didn't look good. We had a lot of perfect patterns. The whole thing. So the big primary numbers for harmonics are the Phi 618 and 1618. And I was saying 102 500 for like 15 months because to me that's the natural cycle, price discovery cycle. We've hit it as a minimum every cycle, and that's where we are currently. So 102.5 for me has always been a big number, and I really just kind of think in levels with all of this stuff. But I certainly don't want to say, hey, this isn't possible, or if they're going to bring crypto into the mix and we got people like Gensler out of the way, then maybe be looking at certain projects when they sell off at the right price. Like XRP to me, I was bullish and I was long that for a long time, knowing that was suppressed. Now, I wasn't happy because I was long around 60 cents. It went to 40 one last time. and then finally shot up. But I knew XRP was going to reemerge, especially as soon as Trump won. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
looking at things now the same way. I just don't see the setups yet. Maybe everything I'm doing saying we're probably in this until June, where we're going to go through this consolidation for a couple more months. Let's see where we are in a month. But I think we're in a lot of ways kind of mirroring what happened last year, which was strong up early, top out February, March, sideways till September, and another mad rush. So, that's kind of what I'm feeling, but I don't want to get overly dismissive. Before I let you go, give me one non-Bitcoin crypto I should be thinking about.
Litecoin.
And you love Litecoin. You've always been on that Litecoin. It's going to
It's
have
so
its day.
inevitable.
Yeah.
It's so inevitable. And even now the ETFs are coming out, and it has the highest probability of passing. And again, it's just like Bitcoin, except it's faster, it's cheaper, still has 4x the supply. And it's just, to me, inevitable. It's the digital silver to Bitcoin's gold. And then, when Bitcoin has the supply shock, you got to go somewhere else. And that's going to be Litecoin. And then after that, I believe there's another one in my head that people are going to go to. So it's just a matter of time. I love proof of work as well. But Litecoin, I believe, is something to just educate yourself on. I believe it's sound money, especially because they introduced Mimblewimble extension blocks, which give you the privacy and the fungibility, and it's optional. So if you want to have private money, you could. And just like cash, you need something that's private, because privacy is a basic human right, as well as the transparency end of things. So Litecoin has a nice balance of both. But my advice right now would be to keep calm, hodl on. It's all going to be okay, friends.
Yeah.
Just wait until everything starts kicking up again. And then everyone's like, wow, man, I can't believe I sold. I shouldn't have done that. Oh boy, I've heard it over and over again. Just educate yourself. It's a good time to do that.
I totally agree. I mean, again, I'm looking for a retracement. We're still in a bullish trend. I do think though, some of the things that are happening, like the meme coin dilution and stuff like that, are leading a lot of people to ruin. I still always say stick with the bigger projects, the bigger market cap. I'm always thinking bigger market cap if it's stocks or crypto, because I don't think you're going to get as killed. Those markets will sustain themselves over time. But I Litecoin was the first crypto I ever bought. Bought it at like,
oh, Scott, that's so cute.
I bought it like $24 or something, and rode it to 70, and it went to 300.
Yeah, that was the good old days. Hopefully we go back there. But I am bullish on it tech wise. So
it has held up, and I was impressed that it was still above 100. I don't know where it is currently. Bitcoin's
yeah, I think it was at hold on, let's see. Hold on, I have the chart. It's 110 right now. A few days ago, it was testing around 140. Selling pressure is really at 142. That's really where you want to hold support. I believe 150 is a major psychological level. But it's like 17% away from its 200-day SMA, whereas Bitcoin is pretty close to it. ETH already tanked below. Same for Doge. XRP is still above it. Cardano's currently testing it. So I believe the 200-day SMA is going to be a little tricky little thing in the next few weeks. But definitely Litecoin has been doing pretty well. I mean, it's hasn't performed like people have wanted it to. But when I look at crypto, I'm looking at what am I going to use for money? What am I going to use to store my value? And how does this apply to things in real life? So it's not always about number go up. And I never give price predictions because people will get mad at me. So
I relate the harmonic levels, so those are my price predictions. But I am impressed. Look, it's not like the rest of these. I mean, that's barely 20% off its all-time high, when most of all the other things are like 60 to 80% already retracing. So I think that's I will keep my eye on that. I've always kind of liked that. It was my first one, and I do remember the little research that I did was that, it was it was like Bitcoin JV. That's the way I thought about it way back when. And then, the faster transactions, like, okay, that makes sense to me. I got lucky on it. I felt like where I just caught it and caught it right. But how? Last question though, how is that different from Bitcoin Cash? Like, why that over Bitcoin Cash?
I don't even consider Bitcoin Cash, to be honest. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I don't even consider it. I mean, it just doesn't have the usage. If you look at Litecoin, it's the number one payments coin. If you look on BitPay, they had 600,000 transactions. I believe it was in like 1 year, right? And over a third of that was Litecoin and way outpaced Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin was not even half. So I think that Litecoin is so useful and it's so liquid. And I think that's why it underperformed what people really thought the coin would do, is because it's so liquid. People with millions of dollars, you're not going to use Bitcoin. It's too slow. It's also too expensive. You're going to go and spend Litecoin. So whether you're spending $1 million or $5, you're paying a penny or less in fees with Litecoin. So I definitely believe like in the money transfer end of things, with Litecoin 100%. People just don't understand right now because they're so caught up with Bitcoin and these meme coins that aren't going to do anything for them in terms of transactional usage. Like Bitcoin is a great currency. It's a great store of value. But if I'm at the donut shop, if I'm going to buy a coffee, I'm not waiting over 10 minutes for a block to confirm. I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
2.5 minutes with Litecoin, and then once I press a button on my wallet, it goes to yours like almost right away. And then you have Digibyte, which is still proof of work, a finite supply of 21 billion, and it's a 15-second block time. Like that makes sense to me. So that's really my thought.
Does Litecoin have a finite supply, or what's the story there?
84 million. So it's basically four times the supply of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's 21 million, Litecoin's 84 million. And even if you look at Grayscale, how much Litecoin Grayscale is holding, they're holding over 2 million Litecoin out of 84 million. And there's around 75 million mined right now.
Let me see that. The Digibyte, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, Digibyte's been around for a really long time. I've actually, if you guys look at my channel, The Randy Hipper Show, scroll down that playlist. I've interviewed Jared Tate. He's the creator of Digibyte. And if you want to learn more about him and the story of Digibyte, it's a really good show to listen to. I've also interviewed Charlie Lee from Litecoin a bunch of times. Last July, I went to Litecoin Summit, did a keynote there. That's also on my YouTube channel. And I talk about all this on the daily. I go live Monday through Friday at 9:45 a.m. Eastern if anyone wants to stop by.
Yeah, everybody, you got to get over and check Randy out over on her daily show. I pop in every once in a while, usually sleuthing in there, but Digibyte's got some nice patterns. I would just say we need some confirmation, somewhere around a half a penny. But I see what you're getting. I like to hear that kind of stuff so that, then I'll put the patterns and I'll be like, all right, this looks oversold. Maybe time for a setup. And, a lot of the moves have been just impulsive, but still you see a lot of 2, 3, 4X's happening where there are people willing to pile in. So you're still over at Miss Teen Crypto on X and YouTube?
Yeah, the handle remains the same. My handle on everything is at Miss Teen Crypto because that's digital real estate. Had it since I was 17, but now I'm 22 and I go by my name Randy Hipper. So you'll see the name on all my platforms is Randy Hipper, but the handle is still at Miss Teen Crypto. So if you guys want to check me out, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, Rumble, Facebook, anywhere, and even I'm at Randy Hipper on Truth Social if you guys are on Truth Social. So I'm pretty much everywhere. If you want to go to randyhipper.com or missteencrypto.com, all my social media is there as well. And again, I go live Monday through Friday at 9:45 a.m. Eastern on YouTube, X, and Rumble.
Over there, guys. Get over on X and YouTube show and check out her show daily. And she's had a lot of great. I mean, you interviewed Michael Saylor. You've been on Fox. A lot of the other people that you've connected with. I just think really admire what you're doing, and you got a lot to go on here. So and keep it up, definitely. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you so much. I also go on Newsmax at least once or twice a week. So if you guys tune into Newsmax, The American Agenda, anywhere from 2 to 4 p.m. at some point in the week, I'm probably on there. And I always post on X, and I let you know on my show on YouTube in the morning. So check me out on Newsmax as well. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. I see the chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. All the love to every single one of you. Keep calm, hodl on, be your own bank. Thank you so much, Scott. Everyone listen to Scott because he's a genius.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you. Appreciate it. We'll get you back again. I'll get over 100%. On your show soon. And thanks so much again. A great conversation. We needed it.
Thank you.
Especially today.
I appreciate you. Have a great day.
You too. Stay in touch.
100%. Sending love. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. See you. Okay, folks. Let's get to it. How about that? Thanks, everybody. I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed that little camera love and great discussion. I think it was timely. I really think that listening to somebody like Randy every day on top of what's happening, and I'm probably a little dismissive of it, of the stories or understanding what's happening in crypto world. Randy's on top of it. She's just, I really admire what she's done, and she's been doing this for years now, and I think she's got big future in the crypto space. So great to hear. I don't have too many people on the show, but somebody like that for sure, a value add. Great to see it. What's up, everybody? So shout out to the chat. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, Justin, that was because of you. I was inspired to do it. I wanted to do it like a month ago, but because of not feeling that great, in the last month, getting around, we finally got her on, and we'll do it again. We'll get more people on here. Let's quick talk about the rundown with Bitcoin and what should we be thinking now, folks? Because I still am saying that we are in this retracement phase that I've been talking about for a while. Probably really felt like I should have been even sooner. Maybe this is something at the end of December or even early January I should have been hitting the table on, but I've been really clear. And I'm a levels guy. You guys know that. We do harmonic patterns, harmonic measurements. We measure the market to dictate, to define where the opportunity sits. And we utilize harmonic pattern collection software. So really quick, again, get over and see Randy over here at Miss Teen Crypto. I don't even think that's the right one. No, that's the wrong one. Miss Teen. Miss Teen, T-E-N. Miss Teen Crypto, right there. I'm following the wrong one, right there. Check it out. Also, Randy Hipper. Randy with an I, R-A-N-D-I, H-I-P-P-E-R. So again, if you're not following her, she's just phenomenal with understanding what's going on. And there's just a lot of noise. So much noise. We see it in the charts with BTC at 87,359. And just let me give you guys a couple levels. And we'll get into a few things here. And then I'll move on for the day. Look, weekly Bitcoin, we know the deal for a long time has been the all-time 1618. And I just want to, again, point this out. I've said this before, but it's really just a natural kind of harmonic phenomenon that when you get to a clear-cut, measurable, undeniable 1618 advance, that's what that is. If it's the markets, if it's nature, that kind of a growth spiral, if you will, is usually followed by a 382 retracement. And that's where we are. I mean, that's the dynamic going on here. Now, the only thing that would flip me to then considering this to be to maybe not reaching the full 382 would be some kind of oversold reading. And we can break it down. We are oversold on the weekly diving in. But that's going to take a couple weeks to resolve it. So that's the baseline here for Bitcoin. All right. And we're going to have to be more patient than we've wanted to. And let me address one or two things of what happened from late December to mid-January that made us go back to the whole situation of anticipating some kind of retracement. And you just come back to the pattern. Always start with the pattern. And what happened was our first test was there at 89 and we overran the hop. Looked like it was going to run, but we could not get through and we capped it, went sideways. Then we had that counter HSI where I felt again we could have the possibility that could be a big continuation point. but we ran into a double dot. What's the double dot? Related to HSI. That's why we use Harmonic Strength Index. It is the Harmonic RSI. Think of it that way, because I'm always about measuring price with some kind of relative strength measure. And what happened is we went double dot, and then rolled over. So a couple people asked me, like, what about your 30 bar rule? Well, the 30 bars reset on that second one, that second dot, and 30 bars was yesterday. Tell me what's happening in that window. Clearly rolling over, rolling down, and until we either get daily oversold, daily dot, I mean, I'm still targeting 76.5. Still down 4,200 right now, and we would still be in a bull market. So final point on Bitcoin, and just something to think about. We are here. Okay, I would equate the same situation that happened last year. A very similar setup, very similar timeline. Maybe we're a month ahead of what happened, but I would be looking for this kind of a retracement within the uptrend. So you're here. Yeah, I would say you're approximately about where you were in April, mid-April of last year. And I do think we're going to have this kind of grinding action going into not only the end of March, but into June. And then what if something unexpected happens and Bitcoin rages? I would be fine with that and be happy for a lot of people. But the common thread here is there's going to be a lot of time to complete that work. So just be aware of that. We're going off of not only the weekly metric, but the daily here, where we do have this. It's not ideal, but it's a clear pattern. And we had secondary confirmation. Listen, we're going to talk about a lot of these technical reads and how to make these interpretations in the course. I'm going to have an official announcement. I just have to just got to clear a couple things, maybe by Thursday. I wanted to do it today, but I still have a couple things I got to line up. But currently, we're looking at March 21st. That's a Friday. And probably it might even be a 2-day event. But March 21st, we do the big updated Harmonic Pattern Collection course. Geez, that would be 4 weeks from Friday. Coming up fast. Yeah, September, I agree with you. Who said that? What's up, Red? I definitely think so. Will we see 70K by March? I don't think so. I think you're going to have a lot of work to do. People will step in here on its way down there, and I don't think it's going to be a straight shot. It would be ideal if we had a capitulation like we saw back in August. But even then, in August, like, break it down. We had that big drop into August. We triggered the oversold, but the real confirmation daily dot didn't happen until first week of September. And if you recall, on the weekly chart, okay, this was our big continuation trigger, was that we got oversold on the weekly, and then HSI and amplified, both indicators, big runs above the 50. And if you go back to like September 10th, or even before then, like the first week of September, that's the exact signal for acceleration that we were looking for. Where we are now, weekly, currently oversold. We've got a lot of time to make that inflection. So we'd have to come down, spend many weeks getting out of this hole, and then turn it all around until we're back above the 50 before you could even think about an acceleration. And I would rather wait for that acceleration trigger than try to buy it on the dip, trying to catch a knife where you get eaten up in price and time. The bigger thing, the bigger read too, and we'll talk these strategies in the course, but we cracked the 50 on amplified. So that is a point where on the weekly chart, we just entered a new character of this retracement phase. And ideally, that should come down, get oversold. Still, all of this, I don't expect more than 73 or 76K, but even technically, like a back test of these highs, it all matches up in that ballpark area. So that's where I would look at it. Now, I haven't sold any Bitcoin. Okay, I'm still long Bitcoin, mostly through the ETFs. I mean, we should look at those. I mean, GBTC, you can see a lot of similarities in that. GBTC looks like this. We haven't looked at that in a long time, but obvious gap fill on GBTC around 61. That's like 10% lower. And then daily charts like this, really not much going on there. I have that big bat pattern back at 40. That would be something. I'm not saying we're going there, but you have a lot of the same work that needs to happen here on the ETF. And look, yeah, we're oversold. Oversold on HSI on the weekly for GBTC. If I was going to look at that as a stock, you still have more work to do. Hey, really quick, who wants a 30-day package to the software and gold membership? Put in HPC 30 and we'll get you set up for a 30-day package, and you can come to the seminar on the 21st for free. How about that? I even gave you guys a camera today. I haven't done that in a year, but Randy special. Kishimoto, you are the winner. Kiyoshimoto. You have to get with me on the Discord, okay? And I'll pop that link here in a second. You won. I'll give away one more towards the end. And if you guys, since we're so crypto focused, if you guys want to look at a couple crypto, let's put it in now and let's get it out. Like I think the other big one to look at, we discussed Ethereum and I think Solana. Here's Solana. I think you've got to look at that within the context of the weekly time frame, where we were looking at 166, looking for confirmation. Now you're 140. Yikes. Where's confirmation? Now dipping oversold right now. So you got some more work to do. Could that possibly go to target to 105? Maybe. I just think Solana's been this deep crab pattern for a while. Hold on, I'm going to give you that. Here's that link. And anybody else that wants to get over on the Discord, please join me. Here you go. Oh, wait a minute. I've got to put it in this way. 1 second, guys. Sorry, let me put that in. Hold on, I got to get over to the chat. Hold on. Don't deal with me here. Hold on. There I am. Okay, I'm live. Let's go. Hold on. To the chat. There you go. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. Get over to our Discord. And if you have any questions, you can DM me in that Discord. Kishimoto, please DM me over there. We'll get you set up. 30 days of the software and 30 days of the gold membership. Solana, guys. We were looking for 166, now 140. How low does it go? How low does that go? This is another one where giving up like 61.8% of that total cycle to date, like there. It's 56 the moment. The 618 is a little bit lower, like 115. So 140 right now, we're doing nothing until we get confirmation down here. And that is a type 1 because T1 dollar sign went on. Now we need a dot. HSI and a dot before we can anticipate return phase. So be it. That's the big one. The other one we talked about today of Cardano, I think, potential story of Cardano being adopted to modernize the whole governmental system. Yeah, that's possible, but at the right price. What do we have here? Not a heck of a lot. We're not oversold exclusively yet. And go to a daily. Forever, we talked about why 130. 130 right there was the absolute limit for initial target of a 382. Now coming back down, and dailies like this shark pattern. And I like that, but people are probably not going to like at the price where this is likely to come back 50 cents or even lower before that could trigger again. And I do want to show something as well. Another reason why we have confirmation is this simple fact. Like, there's the ideal setup there. T1 went on, there's your dot, but we ran into a counter signal that tells you that's a mild reaction. Coming back down, looking for that next dot, whatever. And we're clearly trending lower. So as great of a story of Cardano coming in to modernize the whole government record system, where is the next setup? Where's the next pattern? It's lower. And I said this last time. Easiest way is just look at your HSI. Look at weekly HSI. Tell me what's going on there. Are we below 50, above 50, moving up, moving down? I would say both of those have rolled over. I mean, this amplified rolling back over as well. You need more time to resolve this. I don't want to be super dismissive on what's going on, but I do want to see some minimum mandatory levels get hit before I would consider this to be next step opportunity. One other one that I just want to highlight before I take requests is XRP. And XRP is still trending under the 50. And remember, we had that clear pattern where on the daily, it was a type 2 crab, like there. And we've had difficulty ever since then. Also on the weekly, the 270 level was significant, and we had, easy stuff to read. Like with the software, some of the simplest of confirmation signals are the most powerful. Where we had a weekly dot 3 weeks ago, we checked back and could not get through. In fact, rolling over last week and now this week sets you up for a possibility of like further continuation. So just be aware of that. I'm been looking for this stuff to come down, and I think even more so, I will be concerned. We take out this 3-week low down there at 180, then you've got a long way to go. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. So just be aware of that. I don't think we're near any kind of end to this retracement. In fact, today was a big step in that direction to reaching those targets. All right. I'll look at a couple. Probably save the stocks for Thursday, but a couple people want to look at that DGB. Yeah, what's up, Intel, dude? The Digibyte. Randy was talking about that. The Digibyte. I thought that was an interesting chart. I've looked at that. I mean, a long time ago. I wasn't aware of, what it did, but okay, Randy's got it on my radar. And we do have patterns down here. What do we need? Well, check out the patterns first. Big butterfly down here hasn't really done, honestly, for the cycle. It went from 8/10, 7/10 of a penny, and briefly up to 2 cents, but right back down. We need another confirmation. And that would be in this area, but again, we're here, like a lot of these crypto. Okay, a lot of them, we've been waiting for the oversold reading, waiting for a dot, or to even get out of the zone like that. So you're a couple weeks away. At least I would say 2 weeks to be able to put in that inflection low and turn around. So, we'll keep an eye on that. And that's more like 6/10 of a penny. I know you're scraping all-time lows here, but that's the read. Couple more. ACH. What's up, Andrew? How you doing today? ACH, that was Alchemy Pay, or is Alchemy Pay. We talked about that. That had a big run. Went to 5 cents, back down. And yeah, you're on this kind of sloping uptrend. I've seen worse. That's not bad, as they say. The daily's like this. And we do have big patterns here. So a Gartley back at 2.12 cents is probably where we go. That's pure harmonic pattern dynamics. Type 1, go for the, this is a back-to-back bonanza. But you had, that really is it's actually a type 2. Sneaky. There was the quick type 1 and type 2. Retested the shark, got rejected. I'm thinking you got to come back here. You need a confirmation. If you're looking at your favorite crypto chart and you don't have a pattern, or you don't have a yellow dot confirmation, you're probably going to need more time at lower prices to resolve whatever this is. There's ACH. We need to come lower. And that's getting oversold like there. So still lower. Right back down to 2.12. And you have several patterns here, but we need another confirmation. We've seen it many times. Yeah. What's up, Michael? Wants to look at hype. Yeah. Is that hyper liquid? I think Justin brought that one up. Rolling back over. And let me see if there's a better feed on that. No, that is relatively new. Something I've said about a lot of these new coins, especially something like this that does, has a big push up and then back down. They need these 886 resets. It's a really common way to digest, resolve that initial euphoria. So 886 is like 13.4. Even like a 786, these would be considered deeper retracements. That's a shade under 17. You're almost there. I would go with the 886. Unless I saw something dramatic come together here, which it's not happening. Yeah, look for that 886 and probably on the 4 hour. There you go. 4 hours got a crab down here. But still, that's like the lower end of the range is like 17.6, maybe even 16.3. Again, patience on this. 4 hour time frame for this, just getting out of oversold. So I'm not really looking for this to do much. Crypto needs to print some green bars to turn around what started like 6 weeks ago. Be patient with it. That's it. Couple more. Yeah, one or two more. The vet. VE chain, it's just right back to the pattern support. So what's the lesson though? I mean, if these things are going to go and they're going to double and then roll right back down for the next time, okay? We got to take it to target and almost automatic exit strategy. I mean, you were down there on VET under 2 cents back in October, and then you ran and almost did a 4x low to high, and now back for one of those 886 retracements all the way back down, and that's probably the next area to even consider. 2.1 cents, something like that. This stuff's going to take time. All right, a couple more of some stock stuff. I know you guys want to look at the markets. I'll touch upon that for a second. Goldeneye wants to look at synthetic. It's like this. Probably, or Synapse, sorry. SYN, right? SYN, I thought you meant SNX. Just another one back down. These are round tripping everything. And big patterns. You know, I mean, you've got a lot of pattern support in this stuff. Does that have confirmation? Technically, that is a type 2. And you do have, I mean, all of the support numbers are like 39, 35, 30 cents generally. So on a price level basis, yeah, you're down there. I would want to see, and we do have it. I mean, look, T1 went on. There was a yellow dot. It had a sharp bounce for like 5 days. What happens? You run into this counter HSI. Send it back down. It's going to need more time. I want another dot. And that's what you should demand. For any of these setting up, give me a dot. Why? Because you will have at least 2 green candles behind you to imply that there is stabilization. And you go to the indicator. Look, you're oversold down there. It is starting to turn up. I do like the early signs here, but print some green. Otherwise, you could be grinding sideways for a while in this zone. And that's not what we want to do. That's not what we do here. You really need SYN to go up. Well, it really depends on where you are. Where did you get into? What was your entry price? I mean, because really the only thing to consider was just, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, under 35. And I don't think you're going to get hurt that much more. You're scraping a lot of support here, but it is going to be an amount of time. You're going to have to go through weeks before this stuff turns around. Minimum. And I would say even in the short term, you take this all till March 21st. We're going to have it. I mean, we topped out December 21st. There's weekly SYN. Big bat pattern. It is a type 2, but the weekly doesn't have anything. I mean, weekly, not even oversold yet. So you're gonna need time. You're just going to need time sideways to lower, and I need to see some green bars for sure. It's all right. Yeah, but you're not the only one. Just understand it's going to take time. This stuff it needs more time. And you know what I've been saying about Bitcoin. One or two more. You guys really want stocks today. All right, Den wants to look at what? Is that Ravencoin? I guess so. Ravencoin, RVN. I haven't looked at that. Like all of these. So again, a lot of what I want to do in this course next month, okay, is to show you guys what are the essential steps that's going to dictate an opportunity. Like we have a pattern, great. but we need confirmation. And I'll explain, the real theory behind it. Essentially, we need divergence to stimulate the price move. I think most of you that are here now have been listening to what I've been saying, absolutely see that the indicator readings, pattern levels are going to signal it way before price realization. You need to get that experience so that you know how to read it and then adjust within that framework to say, okay, I've got X, Y, and Z here. That means price objective is here. Okay, and I need a few other things to happen. In this case, and this is like so many of them, we are getting oversold, but we need the full inflection. This is checking back right now. Okay, we're 1.3 cents. Is that low? But you need more time. And it's probably identical to what happened here. You go back to September, August, September timeframe. It triggered in August. It did not generate the buy signal, the true confirmation signal, until, what was that, 6 weeks later. That's what you're looking for here. So take your time with it. Again, just don't be surprised if we go sideways within this range for 4 to 6 more weeks. Let's jump to Qs and NQ really quick. QQQ, and it's kind of a big deal. All right, on daily and weekly, that we haven't seen since the initial completion of the butterfly. I talked about this last week. Okay, we got our first confirmation. Again, a pattern is pretty much just an outline of an M or W formation that isn't truly actionable until we have confirmation. That's what the dot was. And we actually had another HSI underneath there. So we have let out a lot of air in the tire. We're oversold. And that's a good first step. But this thing needs to turn around. We need to see a bullish candle on the daily tomorrow, the next day, because if we remain oversold like that, or especially with the end of the month coming up down here, if we can't get an inflection out of here in the next day or two, that's gonna eat up more time. So that's the deal on the Qs. And we have talked about why this is still a type 1. I mean, last week I was wondering, are we going to fail this? If we could print some candles above 538 or 540, that might fail it. And we had absolutely the opposite. The yellow dot triggered, we rolled over, we broke under the 50 level, and we've been down all week. And we're oversold, but you need to see this inflect out. NASDAQ is down 270 at the moment. S&P down 35. It's been a tough go. Yeah, I hear you on Apple. Someone saying, what about Apple? Incredibly strong. Apple is strong. I mean, that's positive for the day. I think that was up $1.50. And same thing here. You are overbought on the daily, but what's happening is you haven't come out of the zone yet. So I'm not anticipating that rolling over just yet. Weekly time frames like this, I mean, that's a remarkable, in light of what's happened with the market, that's a hell of a chart, no doubt. I mean, other opportunities that I've talked about in these big tech, I mean, Amazon is probably poster child where we've got a few things, but they're lower. Where is it? The daily crab pattern. Okay, let me just clean it up. 201.90. I mean, I was looking at a 4-hour chart 2 days ago, or yesterday even. I was thinking maybe, or no, it was Friday. And I was looking at this on ETH, extended trading hours. we had a couple things here. Around 220. Nothing triggered. Maybe it was an hourly chart. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, it was a shark pattern. 220-ish, 215. Well, there's your dot. And that was 213. Okay, and it sailed on through. So no position, no nothing. I'm looking for that next possibility on Amazon, but that might be lower. And here we are. We're a scratch away from 201. That could happen in a day or two. So I'll wait for that. And we've seen that all over the place. Google, same type of deal, 180. Okay, we're finishing up these reactions. Butterfly right at 205. Come on down. Okay, and we still need confirmation. We're not oversold yet. So that's how to read it. Do you see a dot here? Do we see any kind of arrow? No. We need that. The same can be said for Tesla. Tesla, we were looking for that bump, now under 300. Here's the what's that? The daily bat. Retesting it. This was something really interesting we talked about with my folks, was that on that first test there, we had, where'd it go? On the hourly. Hold on. Yeah, we had a couple of things here where we got the 364 and we rolled. It was like there. Now back down. But the weekly time frame for Tesla, again, 340 was our first stop. The weekly is oversold. We have not triggered out. Have not triggered out yet. And I'm looking. This is the area. I mean, I think longer term on 340 or lower, you'll be fine. I'm just looking for this to be the end of this correction. This retracement. It's a type 1 reaction. But we're still in the oversold. That's why we do not assume that is resolved until you've come out of the zone. And this is even better. Again, I think it's a great setup coming your way. We need to let that get register and pivot out. But nothing changes. We're still oversold reaction. And give this a couple days. I'm looking down here. You know? Let that segment work itself out. Oh, the other thing about Tesla was, remember the TSL? Where was it? Down here? Bat pattern right off the top. No confirmation yet. T1, HSI, a little pop, roll back. Maybe we go as low as 1176. But that's getting closer. I mean, I do think these are opportunities. We have to just let them register. HSI needs to be pointing in the correct direction. It's not. Give it some time. Last one, and I'll get through these other ones. SMCI, Super Micro. Okay, we talked about this chart. It was an alternate bat on the daily. The weekly was this. 57.61, target 1 got rejected. I was saying this last time that was done. That reaction is over. Do we come all the way back to 22.27? Not sure, but pretty clear that reaction's over. I will monitor this, but that's all that was, just one reaction. Yeah. What's up, Wayne? Wants to look at Palantir? Yeah, finally. Palantir giving it up. You know, that was amazing. 87. We talked about that, right? Looking for a 382. I mean, that hit the 2618, could not get through. And almost perfect 314, if you will. But 382, guys, is like, for Palantir, that's a great spot to be looking for it. That's like 77, 78. I agree with that. It's lower, but that would be an amazing opportunity. And the other two that I've talked about, listen, Coinbase, last time I told you exactly why I thought we would need to go lower. We're looking at 223, now 208. Now we're oversold, but that still needs a week or two. And remember, we've got a whole bunch of stuff down at 165. You got these patterns, like 167-ish. So 207 is nothing. Let it come in some more. Still not there yet. And MicroStrategy, I wanted to ask her more about if she's talked to Michael Saylor. But MicroStrategy is an all-time 618. Come on back down. And that's it's more like 200 or lower. Remember, that was the all-time 1618. I mean, almost to the tick, around 535. Okay, you've lost half your value. Where's the 618? We talked about that. There's everything from last time. 200, guys. 200. I won't even consider it until we get there to 200. Yeah. A couple more. Let me scroll up. SQQQ. I'm not a fan. I mean, I just don't think that's... I understand what you're saying, like something that's going to sell, a way to play the decline, but this is a horrible asset. It's a horrible ETF. I mean, you've got the whole aspect that has to move in the down direction, or it doesn't move, and even if it goes sideways, it eats up price premium. I can't. That's not something I would look to play any kind of market decline. I think, go with QQQ puts or futures. So not a lot there, but people want to look at Intel, right back down at 23. What a shame, was 27. No doubt it's going to take time. Going to take time down here. So Intel, nothing changes. I'm still long. I'm still holding. I'm still looking to get out above 30, but that's probably going to be later this year. I'm still in it. Didn't dump it. Kind of wish I did, but so it goes. Couple others. Yeah. What's up, Andrew? Let's look at BTBT. All of those miners are going to need time. We've been saying that as well. Like BTBT, 243. There's a Gartley. It's a type 2. That's on the daily. But here's the read. Okay, the software, T1 with the dot, goes to T1 $sign. Reaction over. Come back down. Where is it oversold down here? It's not yet. Where is it? Now it's oversold in the daily. But you're going to be 2 or 3 more days before that can pivot out. And I would be looking at the hop at 214 on that. Look, it's like Riot or like Mara. All of these are clean. I told you guys I bailed on CleanSpark like 2 weeks ago because it was doing nothing. And now Mara, which was something originally, we're looking at XA at 17. Look, where is confirmation down here? Nowhere. I mean, there's a bearish dot signal, sends it back down, and then you have first bullish reading, but we don't have a dot. You check back, you need one more green bar, and I think somewhere down here, maybe, but you're also working with time, where time is needed for all of that. I mean, look, the weekly, how many weekly signals down there? You are oversold on the weekly now, but you're going to need, what, 2, maybe 3 more bars, puts you into mid-March before that would trigger the next signal. Where's that green line? Like the last, I mean, I hate to say it, the last oversold trigger bar was like around $8, $7.50. It's just not happening. I already did SQQQ, and I don't like it. What am I thinking on BIIB on Biogen. I think that was just in a slide there. Yeah, we were looking at that at 175, 176, something like that, maybe even 180. And zero. That's a weekly chart. Maybe now, because there's your 50 break. I would really need, this is where you have to get this stuff pointing in the right direction. I mean, that was a straight on through. And look at HSI, never came above the 50 until about 6 weeks ago. Final piece I need to see, can that reverse and get higher? I'd love to see that, but we're, yeah, I mean, not the best setup. Not pointing in the right direction. What was there? Something on a daily too? Yeah, there. I do remember this. Okay, so I know we were looking at this at like 180 something. And here's what happened. The counter signal, I haven't looked at that in a while. But we hit the zone, we pop up, you print a counter signal. That's like major red flag. If you're in a position, even if it's like a 5-minute futures position, and you see something like that, you're probably headed back down, retest the low range again, and it went into free fall. I don't know. I mean, this is, love to say that's a perfect setup and you have ended the multi-year decline, but you're not there yet. Pretty difficult. What about Nvidia earnings? Boy, oh boy. What a time for Nvidia to come out with earnings, right? Maybe they were leaked. Nvidia 127, guys. I'm got some concerns up here. Not that they're huge, but we have a couple of big patterns. We have not been able to get above 150. I really thought we might be able to get to like 165 or 170. But what happened? Well, back in the end of December, we printed 2 bearish back-to-back patterns. And that sent it. And then, what's that? 3 days ago, another counter HSI down. You're looking for up. It says, no, I'm done. So lower. And I'm thinking 120-ish. I'm not looking up here. I'm definitely not looking up. And even last trigger lines, like that green line, that's a pretty reliable level. That's 116. My guess is lower, guys. Come back and retest some of these low range numbers. Also, look at HSI. This is going to be a really simple strategy that I go through. Is it above the 50 or below? It's below. Which way is it going? Headed down. Even amplified. Ask yourself, is that up or down the last 30 weeks? It's pretty clear that that's down. Until that's demonstrative in the opposite way, you go with that. What an S show, right? You're going to have to be patient. I know it's been frustrating. Been a frustrating start to the year, especially coming into it when everybody was high as a kite on what happened from basically October, November, December. And then January just kind of really just kind of flamed out. And we've got more work to do. I mean, we have more work to do on these markets. All right. I've been pretty clear. My only regret, I guess, is I wish I would have jumped on this and taken this position like second week of January instead of end of January, especially early February with the Bitcoin stuff and everything else. Yeah, I don't know. Guys, solar and everything else, we have to let the markets shake it out. We just have to let the markets do what they have to do. And for NASDAQ, NQ, for all of those like TAN and First Solar, they look pretty good. But we have to get the markets to register something. We are oversold on a lot of these. We're in the oversold reading here on NASDAQ, both amplified and HSI. NASDAQ futures there, but not until we can print 1 or 2 green bars. If anything, we're up against a lot of bearish confirmation. Tells me at a minimum, you want to be super conservative, you're going to have to give all of this stuff more time. It's still down. It needs consolidation, stabilization before I would consider long positions. And I've been of that opinion for most of the year. I was hopeful in the beginning of the year, but we registered some oversold readings, especially the beginning of the month, like this stuff. And now we're seeing the consequence of that. All of this I will go through in that course in March. Listen, I'll give away one more 30-day package to someone who hasn't won it. HPC 30. First person to do that, what you need to do is connect with me on the Discord. Send me your full name, email address, and TradingView username, and we'll give you the 30-day package. Hitesh Sharma, you win. Okay? Get to me on the Discord. Everybody else, listen, everything that you need to do, okay, for the course, you want to get up to speed, especially brand new people. Welcome. We've had a whole bunch of new people. Okay, you guys, I give away a package or 2 every show, so try next time. But you can get started right now. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. We'll give you a 14-day free trial. And then everything else, like the videos, we send you resource videos, the books, are all accessible as a basic member for free. Just register now. HarmonicTrader.com is the place. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that discussion with Randy. She really is great. She's phenomenal. Check her out over on her show on YouTube, Miss Teen Crypto. And we'll have to have more conversations with her going forward. But till then, that's what I have for today, guys. Great show. Hope you liked the video. I'll try to do that some more. I know, I'm not big on the video, but I know once in a while it's helpful to look at somebody so you know who you're talking to. Hopefully that was educational and entertainment for you. Good luck out there. Come on back on Thursday.